We're resuming July 4th baseball on July 6th here at the Gov. A very unique situation is upon us here in Falmouth with the Commodores and the Kettleers. Inside the broadcast booth, Matt Venezia, Zach Sardenik. This hasn't really happened before, but we're kind of maneuvering through the changes.
Yeah, we'll get you all the info of where things are at as we go into this broadcast, but it's going to be something a little different today, Matt.
Well, we know what's going to happen today. It's very unique, but we do know what happened yesterday. Yesterday was a moment for the Commodores in a game that was very, very close. Great pitching, Zach. It came down to the end, but what a game it was over at Lowell Park.
Yeah, Cotuit got it started early. Cole Mathis with a no-doubter in the first off of Rio Britton. That was the only hit he would allow, though. You're going to see some of the stuff from Britton. He was outstanding. 6
strikeouts against that one hit, as you mentioned, through 5 innings. Rio stuff looked really good.
It did, and he did a nice job to get swings and misses as well as pound the strike zone. Just the 2 walks allowed for him as well.
Had the 2 walks, and then the Commodores again. It's still very early in this ball game, but it was Falmouth out hitting Cotuit 4-1 for a very, very long period of this game.
For the majority of the game, the Doors seemed to be in control and the better team at the plate, and especially when they were able to tie this game up in the 7th, it felt like things were swinging towards Falmouth's way.
Luke Heyman, the Florida Gator, in his debut came across as that run to tie the ball game up. But the Kettleers would take the lead there in the bottom of the 8th, scoring 2 in that frame. That would set up a situation for Falmouth having to chase 2 going into the 9th.
It did, and the Doors didn't go quietly. Tyler McGregor launching his 2nd home run of the season to get it to a 1-run game. The Doors would set themselves in a good spot as well with 1st and 2nd and 1 away, but unable to get it done.
A hit and a walk set up the situation as you look and see how this ball game came to an end. A routine 4-6-3 turn had the Kettleers escape Lowell Park, and you see the final numbers from the ball game there. And again, just a great effort by Falmouth. And again, a West Division battle, but now you resume. You got to find a way to hold this lead.
You really want to take advantage of an early lead, and that's something that Falmouth has done pretty well all season long when scoring first, but now it's a new day, so momentum gets interesting. This is going to be a big inning, but we'll talk more about that when we come back.
So, again, we talked about the uniqueness. This hasn't happened before. The game will be resuming from where it ended with all that rain, and for a little bit more about how this is going to look, we send it down to Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. On July 4th, the Falmouth Commodores and the Kettleers started their annual game against the Cotuit Kettleers on Independence Day, but had to stop because of lightning and thunderstorms. This is the first time that Falmouth will have to pick up a game where it left off. And the game will pick up with Falmouth up 2-0 with a runner on second, 1 out, and an 0-1 count to T.O. Banks. This should be a really good game. Last night was really close in Cotuit, and now here at Gov Fuller Field, the Kettleers and the Commodores will face off again. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Destiny, for that. The only difference, though, there are a couple of changes we'll get to in just a second, but H.A. Causey will not be resuming, as you can imagine, with a starting pitcher. They need every 5 days and all that. It's going to be the newest Commodore here, Jacob Smith, in his first appearance for the Doors.
See the numbers at the University of West Alabama, but he's got a lot of different stuff. He throws 7 different pitches that he can go to. Whether we see all 7 today, we'll have to wait and see, but he can really get it done. The strikeout numbers speak for themselves.
Well, it's a good thing we have our new TrackMan set up to see all the spin rate and the exit velo and the miles per hour. Thank you, TrackMan, for providing with us that here in the Cape League. But it'll be fun to see what Jacob Smith can do. And again, navigating a unique situation where not only does he come in almost what's like a relief stint, but the count is 0-1. There is already 1 out. It's the stuff you dream about, in baseball. Different situations, different scenarios. The Commodores on July 4th had the red Independence Day Friday jerseys, but today going with their home whites, but rocking that nice Military Appreciation Night hat. The Doors are going to have that on here today. The dark uniforms from Cotuit, the traditional road look for the Kettleers, who now have improved up to 15-6 because of the win yesterday.
Cotuit's been outstanding and just trying to keep that momentum going, but the Doors played them well last night. Trying to play them well again today and see where they can go.
Outside of the solo shot that we saw from Cotuit yesterday, done there by Cole Mathis, the Commodores held this offense in check. One of the very, very best offensive, groups in the Cape League. Very minimal there, but it was that 2-run 8th inning that separated Cotuit by the one run they needed to hold on.
Yeah, able to come through in a big spot. Caleb Lomavita just found the perfect spot on the infield with that infield single that kept that inning alive and gave them that advantage that they wouldn't relinquish. Now it looks like we have our first substitution as well. Warming up for Cotuit. So Kalai Harrison was the leadoff man. He was on deck. Well, he just was released to go to the draft. And so it looks like it's going to be number 9, Grant Norris, the infielder out of Penn State, that will take his place. He's in the on-deck circle right now.
So, with all that craziness, it appears that we will continue with T.O. Banks leading off. Again, the ball game was put on pause and ended with Banks in a 0-1 count. The runner standing on second is Emelian Pitre. He got on with a base hit, and then Peebles after him grounded into a fielder's choice to Christian Martin. Had to go the short way to McGregor. And now that is the situation. We continue as if we've been here for the entirety of it. First pitch, breaking ball, a little bit low, evening the count at 1.
Want to find yourself attacking the zone early and often.
Again, Jacob Smith out of West Alabama. His first opportunity here in summer ball with the Commodores. Pitched the most innings on the staff over there for the Tigers. Lifted the leg, and the pitch got him up in the fastball, up and in, 1-2.
And that's how teams have attacked T.O. Banks recently, is with the elevated fastball.
And we were talking a little bit earlier, just, again, so weird for a starter to come into a weird situation like this. It's probably going to be a tale of two sides, right? Is he going to be dialed in and hitting the zone or chasing from behind early? So far, so good for Smith on the mound. Swing and a miss, went upstairs, another fastball, cut on and missed. 2 gone here in the inning.
Good start, just pounding the zone. And that's how you want to start when you're already ahead in the count. It's like a gift to start things off for Smith, and he takes advantage of it.
So now it's Grant Norris. We haven't seen him yet. Just now getting into the swing of things with the Kettleers at Penn State, as you mentioned, Zach. Hit 276 there this year, 40 hits on the year, drove in 42 runs. Got a chance to drive in one right here. Big bender. Goes a little bit inside there. You mentioned the 7 pitches for Jacob Smith. Had the 4th lowest ERA on the staff with West Alabama, a team that went 21-26 this year. But he was their Friday night guy. Got a lot of opportunities. Again, the innings speak for themselves. But very prone to being the guy to get the ball in big situations.
And this is a pretty big one. Trying to strand that runner is really important for the Doors to try and keep momentum that they had earned early in that last game, scoring those 2 runs in the first inning.
It was nice for Falmouth to get those runs. Travis Bazzana led off his part of the ball game with a walk. Came around to score on it. Kyle DeBarge brought him in with an RBI knock. Slowed that one down on the outer third. Didn't get it. And Smith well behind now, 3-0. Good job by Smith there to get back into the zone.
That's exactly what you're looking for. In a 3-0 count, you fire a fastball. You're not piping that pitch. You're putting it on the outer edge and doing a nice job to get that over the plate and get back in the count.
Continuing to work from behind, the offering. This one roped out to deep left. Bazzana gives chase, and he'll run out of room. The Kettleers waste little time in this resumed ball game to tie it up.
There it goes. Just got too much plate with that fastball, and Norris didn't miss it.
Gave up 20 extra base hits, did Smith this year. Gets beaten by one right there. And that's tough because you mentioned, Zach, you have to take advantage in stranding that runner, and the Doors were 2 strikes from it, a ground ball from it, anything. But just a tough outcome there for Grant Norris. How about Norris getting into the ball game here? Wasn't on the roster 2 days ago when this game began, but he comes up big right there. And we are brand new moving forward the rest of the way with Brock Wills in.
How's that for Cape League debut?
1 for 1 with a long ball and 2 runs driven in. The Nittany Lion drove in 43 this year. Picks up his first 2 here in the Cape Leagues. Now, about to be halfway mark of the season after today's game. Uses the off-speed breaking pitch there to get ahead 0-2, trying to get back into the dugout without any more runners reaching here. With all those 7 pitches, using one of them there as a waste pitch to show him the breaking ball there. Is that what that spot's for?
Probably, and just see how aggressive Wills is. Hitters sometimes try to get too into the carrying momentum after a home run and get a little over-anxious. But nice job there. Get him to hold back.
Another waste pitch there, nowhere near. The Sun Devil, Jacob Tobias, on deck. Arizona State's product out here in the Cape League. Another Sun Devil activated today. Brock Peary, Sun Devil's closing arm. Another one of those submarine guys, Zach. I'm excited for you to maybe get to see him today. I've seen him a ton out there in Tempe.
Definitely has good stuff.
Deuce is wild here in the bottom. Check that, actually the top of the third. Big Bender. That one's good enough. Call behind the plate. Strike 3 looking. But not before massive damage done here in the first inning of today's resumed action. But here in the top of the third, it concludes with a 2-run shot by Grant Norris. We are brand new as we head to the bottom half.
Commodore fans, the Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Gov Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball, all for free.
Nice little breezy day here at the Gov. It's sunny. I think it's the hottest day we've had here in the booth. We're feeling it here in this broadcast setup we have here at Gov Fuller Field. It's a hot one here in Falmouth, no doubt about it. But we want to thank you for tuning in. Matt Venezia, Zach Sardenik, Destiny Sanchez, and others helping you out here with the Commodores taking on a different arm than what they saw the other day. Obviously, it was Finn McElroy who started in this first half of the resumed action. But right now, they'll see Jake Gigliotti. We've already seen him before.
Yeah, and Gigliotti is a guy that really does good stuff. You see the ERA less than 1 for him on the season. And this isn't a guy that you wanted to face in a tie game. You wanted to face him with that 2-0 advantage that you had. Well, now it's tied. So you're looking at 6.5 inning ball game to try and finish on top.
Gigliotti started that massacre of the Commodores in the first matchup at Lowell Park. 12-1 loss for the Doors. Went 5 1/3. Gave up 1 run, 4 hits. Only struck out 2 Commodores, though. So it was a lot of outs in play, obviously, in that game. But he was locked in. A guy whose ERA on the Cape Summer, as you just saw there, .71. So the work has certainly been cut out for this group. And Falmouth, again, the other day on July 4th, the first 8 men reached a plate appearance. Nate Humphreys did not. He was suited up and only got to be in the field in that game that got put on pause, but he's now in to bat. Out of Dallas Baptist, Humphreys, again, it's so funny to just say this, but from this point forward, in tomorrow's game, that was actually yesterday, he went 1 for 3, had a base hit.
Officially, there's a lot of quirks like that with a game like this where you have a suspension of it. You can see guys that get hits before their major league debut, and this happens in the majors. It's always funny to look at.
Well, you said it to me. Luke Heyman, who made his debut yesterday, as this one's chopped foul, made his debut yesterday coming in from the College World Series of Florida, obviously. But technically, I mean, he's on the lineup card. He's on the lineup card for today's game. Should he be needed maybe as a substitution? But when this game started, he was not on the roster.
I mean, you saw it with Grant Norris. Grant Norris just homered in that situation and started off his Cape season with that home run in his first at-bat. technically on the day before he got here.
I wonder if there's like trivia questions.
Oh, I'm sure
in games
there are.
that have to do with these weird situations. Humphreys on the ground the opposite way. It's a leadoff base hit for the Commodores here in the third.
You want to respond right away, and that's a good start because not only do you get a single there, but you flip the lineup card over. You've got Spikerman, Bazana, and DeBarge coming up with a man on.
Spike yesterday. Not yesterday. Again, yes, yesterday, but again, given the
It's
situation.
still yesterday.
I guess we can say yesterday. Was 0 for 4. Over the last couple of games now, he's been mainly up in that leadoff spot for Falmouth. With Bazana waiting on deck. Tobias, they're keeping tabs. He, again, 2 days ago was the first baseman of record, but he did not play yesterday in that July 5th game for Falmouth, the 3-2 loss. We just showed you the highlights of that a second ago. Runs a heater here off the plate and away. Cannon Peebles keeps that one close.
Gigliotti doesn't seem like he has good feel on that pitch yet. It's kind of sneaking outside and leaking on him. He's kind of rubbing his fingers together after he releases it pretty much every time.
Big bender. Falling behind 2-0. Peebles keeping that one back there. Had a good freshman year with the Wolfpack of NC State down there in the ACC. Good look there at Humphrey's primary lead. As we say that, he gets checked on back over there at first. But a nice warm day, as we talked about. An okay number of supporters here at the Gov, along both the left field and right field line. John taking that one all day. Drops in there for a strike on the outer third. Again, a day that was supposed to be an off day, but because of Mother Nature and other elements we saw on July 4th, which reminds me, fireworks were canceled that night because of the fog. They moved it to yesterday, but then again were canceled after a couple trials. Humphreys going, the throw a little high, but the tag in time. What an adjustment. Over there by Norris, it's short, and Humphreys is tabbed on the bases.
That's just unfortunate pitch selection. He chose to go on that 2-1 pitch, especially after a 2-0 off-speed pitch from Gigliotti. It seemed like he was going to control that, and instead he throws a fastball up, and that's easy pickings for Peebles behind the plate.
John, not a fan of that off-speed pitch there. Now the leadoff man for the Commodores taken away. Nate swiped 19 bags this year at Dallas Baptist, so you never question when he goes, but just trying to get a couple fastballs there to get back in the count. Now he is. Breaking ball. There it is. Swing and a miss. That's one way to clear the bases. Coming back down 3-0, including throwing a runner out. 2 gone.
It just feels like all of the momentum is swinging towards Cotuit in this game right away. And that was the unfortunate thing about the timing of that rainout for the Doors. They had every ounce of momentum going their way. A.J. Causey was throwing really, really well, and things were looking good, and now it's not looking so good.
Gigliotti there in disgust, stepped off the mound there, said some words to himself as that fastball rang off the plate. To Bazana, reached on a walk in his first at-bat of this resumed game.
He still hasn't located many fastballs at all. The 2-0 even was a changeup to Spikerman, and then the pitch they struck him out on was a breaking ball. He's really just firing in a lot of off-speed for strikes compared to the fastball.
And to his credit, it's been working. That slider does a real nice job of, right at the end of the break, pretty much just snapping back in towards these left-handed batters. Did it right there. That one in on the shoelaces of Bazana. Couldn't resist. It's 2-2.
Sent that one right into the dugout over there. A couple of guys hopping out of the way of that one.
And for both sides, too, to just get comfortable in their first set of at-bats in the inning. This one nearly runs in on Bazana. The Kettleers offensively have done that, getting themselves back in the ball game. Meanwhile, Falmouth, aside from that base hit by Humphreys, both he and Spikerman eventually getting out. And a strike away from going 1-2-3. Bazana, this one ran in on him. Deep run out there into right. Banks still giving chase. He runs out of room. Travis Bazana golfs that one out of here in right. And the Doors are back in front.
Gotta feel good for Bazana to finally get one. Here for the Doors, he's been swinging the bat better as of late, continuing to heat up, and that's the response you needed. From Falmouth, you're right back in front.
We've seen it in slow little minimal samples of a guy who's a collegiate baseball second-team All-American, hit 11 home runs this year at Corvallis with Oregon State. And that one, pretty much a no-doubter. Really, really high launch angle on that one. But cleared the wall by a matter of a good several, maybe 10, 15 feet. I mean, the chase by Banks turned into a jog there at the very end. We talked about it at the top of the broadcast. The wind blowing out there towards left center, but that one still got some bit of that wind surge and kept trailing and going over the right field wall. Pull side for the lefty Bazana. And now it's Kyle DeBarge facing a 1-2 count here out of Louisiana with the Doors back in front by 1.
That fastball location has not been there from Gigliotti. Continues to, whether it miss in or miss out, just not be able to be as sharp as we've seen him in the past.
Trying to stay in this at-bat here. This one off the end of the plate, and that one's going to be deposited out there in the right. Bad cut at it by Banks, and that's going to allow DeBarge to go for extra bases. The Commodores here, a couple of 2-out extra base hits. DeBarge stands on second with a double.
Good piece of hitting. Doesn't try to do too much with it. Just scoops it the other way out into right center and ends up on second base.
So now it's McGregor. The big swing in the ninth that gave Falmouth life to eventually get the very next 2 men up on base. But the rally of the Commodores would fall to a 4-6-3 double play by Gavin Keelan. But now a base hit will get that 2-run lead right back. A lot of speed in DeBarge out there. This one's driven in the gap in right center. That'll get down. DeBarge will score with A's. It's a wide turn at first. Won't be a double. Did the same job, though. And the Commodores respond with a 2-run third inning of their own. It's back to a 2-run lead.
And that's what you get when you have 2 guys that play together collegiately at Northeastern. McGregor knows exactly what he's looking for against his fellow Husky and jumps on it immediately.
It was slowly looking like this third inning could have resulted in some offense. And the way Spikerman went on a fastball, got thrown out, then Spikerman strikes out. 2-3-4 of this order says, hang on, let us get a shot.
And that's why we talked about the part of the order that you had coming up for Falmouth is exactly where you want to be. You can't ask for a better spot than the heart of this order, and they're doing their job. Gigliotti's still not out of the woods yet.
Now another element of why these resume games are so interesting, Jacob Smith still throwing in the bullpen right now, just trying to get a feel maybe for that fastball, as you were saying. Trying to get comfortable there. Again, normally pitchers, before they start ball games, will have plenty of time in the bullpen. They have plenty of time to stretch. Just trying to get a good feel for it out there.
And you'll see that sometimes when there's long innings between your pitches.
Line drive here right at the shortstop. Norris to conclude the third, but not before the Commodores pick up some extra base hits to get their 2-run lead right back. We got a good one here, Bruin. We'll take it to the fourth here on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Dreams? Do they want to learn from the stars of tomorrow? Then check out the Falmouth Commodores Summer Baseball Clinics, where kids from the ages of 5 to 14 can hone their skills in pitching, hitting, fielding, and catching with help from the best college players in the nation. The clinics run from June to late July, and the 6 4-day sessions are divided by age group and experience level. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Give your kids a summer of baseball and a lifetime of memories.
Go Doors!
Jacob Smith ready to go for the fourth inning, trying to protect a second chance at a 2-run lead. And speaking of fun things to protect, we got some trivia for you. The last Commodore player to be a Gold Glove winner in both the infield and the outfield.
He's the only one in Major League history, and he won 2 of them in the outfield and then 1 at first base.
So you know.
I do know who
you
it is.
know who
yes.
it is.
Do you
Okay.
know who it is?
Not yet.
All right.
I
I guess you'll have to wait and see for the answer.
I have the rest of the ball game to maybe put that together, do a little thinking on my own here. But nonetheless, this ball game getting off to a very, very exciting start.
Back to that trivia real quick. Make sure you saw it there, but make sure to tweet your answers at us at Falmouth Commodores on Twitter and use the hashtag Doors Trivia and make it a shout out here if you get it right.
That's true. We'll see what the numbers show in terms of who that utility player is. Someone who can do it in the infield and the outfield. There's a couple Commodores that have made it to the big show and have worked themselves. There's a lot of pitchers in the big leagues from Falmouth, so it can't be one of those guys. I can tell you that right now.
No, and they're not a current big leaguer. Big leaguer, if
okay,
you like it.
big hint right there. Not
Yeah.
a current big leaguer. Well, we're back to baseball with Smith taking on the lefty Tobias. Again, as we mentioned, Tobias out of Arizona State. Had a good breakout freshman year, became a freshman All-American after his freshman campaign. He and Ryan Campos earning those honors, the two of them in their underclassmen debuts for Willie Bloomquist and the Arizona State Sun Devils. Big hook, getting it on the outside with Tobias not threatening there.
That's a nice pitch. That's the way you want to be able to go about things. Just locate your stuff and execute.
Went to the quick stuff there. Low 90s offering from Smith. And again, for an arm like Smith, this is a big spot for him personally. Being in West Alabama, taking on now some of the toughest competition maybe he's ever seen. Really, really good opportunity for the lefty of Falmouth to get himself settled into this ball game. The 1-2. And it's a called third strike. Tobias can't believe it. And I think Smith gets lucky on that one, the first out of the inning.
Finds his way with already his 3rd strikeout. All 3 outs he's recorded have been by way of the K, and we saw the numbers at West Alabama. He had 104 of them. Starts himself off on a pretty good pace here for the summer.
It's a really, really good pitch. As we see the new batter stepping in now, and Cole Mathis. I think what I mean lucky is that Yannick was setting it outside, and he had to reach back in on the inner half, and that's why Tobias looked a little frustrated. Big cut and a miss there, 0-2. And I say that too as, I say this a lot, but being a catcher, they tell you that the umpire, you're going to give away pitches like that because you need to be quiet back there. You can't be moving your body and your glove around. That's very obvious that he's having to reach somewhere. This one's off the plate.
You are, but at the same time, like, I have a lot of respect for an umpire that is not going to let that affect him as much. He's going to call the game based on what he sees for the zone himself, and we're seeing that early from Marvin Gomez.
Looking for back-to-back strikeouts here in the 4th. Fastball not near. Counts even at 2. Mathis again. The big swing yesterday. That was the only bit of offense up until the later stages of the game. It was 1-0 for a long time at Lowell Park. This one's ripped out there to left and foul. Heads up, Cotuit bullpen. Those guys have gloves down there. They can keep themselves safe over there.
Yeah, they're chilling up there. A couple of guys laying up on the edge of the hill as it rolls back.
It's comfy over there.
It is. We've mentioned it a lot, but I feel like you can't really get over the aesthetic of just Cape League baseball. Fans in lawn chairs up on the hills watching some of the best players in the country.
Some bleachers out here in right field as well, all the way down to the bullpen of Falmouth. The 2-2. Looks to drop it in there just a little bit low. And now we're full.
That was a good pitch, but Mathis with a nice take just below those knees.
Well, Smith was ahead, 0-2. Couple of foul balls and three balls, as that one just barely fouled off, and that one's off Yannick. And my goodness, again, it seems every game the foul ball contact on him is a lot worse. And this one appears to really have gotten him.
Yeah, he does not feel good right now. Just trying to take a second and gather himself. We'll see if he's able to remain in the game. The Doors do have a new catcher on the roster that they didn't have the first time that this game started. So if they need to go to Luke Heyman, they can. But I think Yannick's going to try to tough this one out, I think. Coaching staff hasn't left the dugout either. There's another catcher, Willie Baker, the bullpen catcher. I don't think he's coming in today. He's got himself a camera practicing his photography over there.
We'll see what pictures he's able to capture. He's smiling over there. But Yannick, obviously the reason no one's come out to check on him is because he's one of the tougher guys on this team. Now Mike Landry may be taking a walk. Yannick putting the catcher's mask back on, and he looks to be okay. Have not seen him ever take that long to gather himself. That tells you that he's a tough cookie back there. We'll do the full count. Sharply on one hop, and it gets just by Gavin Keelan. That's going to be an infield hit. Good job to keep that one in on the dirt, but that was a rope there to shortstop.
It was, and that's a play where Keelan has one step and a little dive slide move that he made, and it went in and out of the glove there at the end, but that is a really tough play to make.
We've seen a couple of baseballs hit sharply like that, get away from the infield at Falmouth, and trickle into shallow part of the outfield. I mean, with Speed and Mathis, I mean, he could maybe stretch that into two if Gavin doesn't keep that close.
Definitely a possibility.
And Speed, the Commodores know that. Quick check over there. And Mathis, who reaches. The third hit already for Cotuit since we've resumed. They didn't have any hits when we paused back on July 4th. So the only 3 hits. The team has gathered in this official now ball game moving forward. The Indiana Hoosier, Carter Matheson, had a couple big plays in center field yesterday. Took a couple of extra base hits away from Falmouth.
Also had an RBI single in his last at-bat in the 8th. That brought in the 3rd run for Cotuit, which ended up being the difference-making run.
It's 2-0 to Matheson here.
Cotuit also lost a lot of the back-end bullpen arms over the last few days of the draft. We'll see how much that affects them going forward because that's been such a strength of their team.
Just kind of yanked that fastball there. Never really had a chance. You say strength of the team. That might be putting it lightly. I mean, this is the best pitching staff in the Cape League across numerous defensive numbers.
And a few of the guys we saw yesterday. Jacob Schaefer entered in to yesterday's game. He got the save. He's gone now. You also lost Noah Ruin, who was leading the league in saves with 3. And so those guys trickling out, we'll see what Cotuit can do to replace them.
Smith able to find the zone here for the first time in the at-bat. See Matheson there with his red protective gear, sporting his Indiana Hoosiers here in the Cape League. The 3-1. Big breaker. That's going to get down on a sharp line into right. A lot of speed in Mathis, although he rounds the bag at second and stays there. Big arm there in Nate Humphreys. We've already seen him make some big defensive plays. But nonetheless, back-to-back base hits, setting up Cotuit here immediately after Falmouth responded to the 2-1 frame of Cotuit.
All the real damage that Cotuit has done against Jacob Smith has come when Smith has fallen behind in the count, has then had to try to battle back. He's got to either throw fastballs over the plate or he's got to bend in some breaking balls over the plate, and Cotuit taking advantage in those situations. When Smith's been ahead in the count, he's been in complete control.
Well, here he gets ahead in the count on the first pitch with Ryan Galaney in there now. Good take there in the box. Looked to be a curveball. There, nice look there at second. Cole Mathis standing there. Base hit could certainly cut this lead to 1. Big breaking ball, late decision to swing. Just barely got some of it on it, just like that. Getting back into the count just a bit here.
Yeah, and that pitch was probably a little low. Smith fortunate from that swing by Galaney because now he's ahead in the count, and that's exactly where he's been.
A ball and 2 strikes now to Galaney. Commodores trying to find a second out here in the inning after the consecutive base hits. Really good block there by Yannick, keeping it close. Everyone having to retreat. It's 2-2.
Seems like he's okay after taking that stinger back in the at-bat against Mathis. Really nice job to keep that one in front.
So it's 2-2 now. Smith already working a lot here. We're going to get, let's be a timeout called here.
Oh, pitch clock violation.
Oh.
Count runs full.
Didn't see the motion there from up here in the booth, but yes, anytime they go to the watch, that hurts. So you add a ball to the count now. It's 3-2. Some friendly fire here done by Smith and the Commodores here trying to get an out here in this scenario. The pitch right back over the reach of Smith. Keelan could do it himself. He got one. The stretch in time at first. Rule that a 6-3 double play. And there is a collision at second. And Gavin Keelan appears to be the Commodore injured at the moment. Matheson came hard there at second. We won't speculate too much, but Gavin's up and walking back to the dugout. We'll leave it there. Falmouth escapes the jam with hopefully no injuries. We'll update you as we know here on the Commodores Baseball Network.
You could have a future big leaguer in the family. Become a part of the Falmouth Commodores community by hosting a player for the summer. Host families provide a home away from home for some of the best college baseball talent in the nation, and the bonds formed between the players and families can last a lifetime. All host families will receive a weekly allowance from the Commodores organization to help cover expenses.
Nice work by the Commodores there to keep out in front as we get ready for the bottom of the 4th inning. Got some history for you here. Eric Melton did some damage in the Cape League on this day, way back, and did some damage too in the major leagues.
That was the last time that a Commodore threw a no-hitter, a one-man no-hitter. There was a combined no-hitter a little later, but Eric Melton back in 1996 on July 6th, throwing that no-hitter. He also is the only Commodore to throw a no-hitter in the Cape League and the major leagues. So maybe store that in the back of your mind for a potential future Doors trivia question as the year goes on. But really impressive stuff from Milton.
Nice job by our crew to keep it entertaining throughout the broadcast, aside from us bringing it to you here. Weather update and trivia and some fun things as we get ready for the bottom of the 4th. Walker Yannick, maybe some payback now in the box after taking that stinger on the foul ball. He'll have a chance to himself get Falmouth continuing to step on the gas here. If you're just tuning in, we resumed with 1 out and a 0-1 count in the top of the 3rd. Grant Norris, a substitution who was not in, wasn't even on the roster on July 4th when this game was stopped, had a 2-run shot to tie the ball game in the 3rd. And then after a solo shot for Bazana for Falmouth, then there was a base hit RBI from McGregor, which gave Falmouth its 2-run lead once again. And that's where we are here in the bottom of the 4th. The 1-1 count now on the backstop of the Falmouth Commodores. Out of Sam Houston State, Yannick, good take there in the box. Ahead of it now by a lot, 3-1.
It's exactly where you want to be. And there's already some motion in that Cotuit bullpen. When you've got a starter like Gigliotti coming in, you would hope he can give you a lot of innings, but he hasn't been sharp and the doors have been on him.
And this is tough, too. He's one of their better arms. You kind of lose him here in a start, basically, because of this made-up game. Yannick sharply on the ground. Galaney moving on his forehand side onto Tobias in time, one away.
Not a bad swing, just a nice play on the run there from Galaney to get out number one.
So with one away, Cade Snell will step in. Gavin Keelan is in on the on-deck circle, so that's good to see. Gavin taking the bad end of that double play that was unassisted on his play there at second.
Yeah, we kind of lost some of the energy when he went down, but that was a spectacular play by him. Field that up the middle, touch the bag, and throw across while the slide was coming in and trying to avoid it. But he did it flawlessly.
Cade Snell's been getting his offensive bat going here recently. 7 of 25 here since coming in as the first replacement of Charlie Condon, as this looper will get down there into left. Cade Snell jumping up that average from 280 to a few ticks more, and it is a one-out knock for the Commodores here in the fourth.
Just finds the way to hit the baseball again and again, and when you look at the two first basemen on this roster in McGregor and Snell, both guys are swinging it well, picking up from where Condon left off, who was in 300 when he was here as well.
So now it's the Louisville Cardinal getting ready for his sophomore year next year. And Gavin Keelan, he has been this team's day one shortstop. Aside from a small stint of Deuce Gorson out of UCLA before he went on to Team USA, Gavin has primarily been there in the middle infield of Falmouth. A handful of outings at second base as well this summer, but anywhere in the middle infield you should probably find number 5 for the Commodores.
And he's been really good. He got red hot. He's up to nearly a 330 average on the summer, looking for a little bit of an all-star campaign potentially.
He's fighting for it and has the benefit of being here since opening day to use that to his benefit. But Gavin Keelan, already 20 hits and just over 60 at-bats. Got jammed on that pitch there. 1-2.
Gigliotti working back ahead in the count. That's where he wants to be. That's where Mike Roberts wants him. And the Doors just trying to continue to swing the bat well as they have so far in this game, both back on Tuesday and now resuming it tonight.
Another threat on the bases in Cade Snell against Gigliotti here. And right as we say that, it's like he read my mind with a pickoff move over there to first.
He's just staring you down from out there, Matt. Looking right up past home plate into the booth and
can he see us
getting
from
your
here?
Thoughts.
Do you think he can see us from here with the sun? We'll see. The pitch right on the ground off the glove of Gigliotti. And from one double play to another, not this time though. Keelan could have been on the receiving end of both in the field, but not this time. He beats that one out for a fielder's choice there. He'll switch spots with Snell at first with now 2 away.
Yeah, I think you also have a little spot there where it's interesting trying to get that going because you've got communication with new guys. Norris is at shortstop. This is the first game he's played with them. He went to the bag, but Pitre was also going to the bag. They kind of had to avoid each other, and that slowed it down just enough to allow Keelan to beat it out.
Pitre made a really, really good play in on the infield, just out of the infield, actually, in the grass and shallow right to keep a ball still in the infield. Nate Humphreys rounding third hard, came in home and got gunned out from a really good throw from the second baseman of Cotuit yesterday. A lot of spots for Falmouth there, and again, a very, very close competitive game where you talk about what happened in center field with Matheson robbing a couple extra base hits, that play on the ground, and even with that late rally by Falmouth losing 3-2, a lot of spots where the Doors could have scored more than 2 runs if it weren't for the defensive efforts of the Kettleers. Humphreys got jammed on this one. It hangs up just enough for Wills coming in to make the play, and Brock will retire the Commodores here and put a 0 up against the threat from the Doors. The game still stands with a 2-run lead for Falmouth. And before we go to break, we'll send it down to the field with Destiny Sanchez.
The Cape Cod Baseball League All-Star Game is coming to White House Field in Harwich on July 22nd. It's open at 1:30 p.m., a home run derby will begin at 4 p.m., and first pitch is scheduled for 6 p.m. Tickets are $10 each with free admission for children 12 and younger. Tickets are now available online at capecodbaseball.org, at the merchandise booth under the press box at Gov Fuller Field, or will be available at the gate on July 22nd. Buy yours today and come watch the top players from across the league all on the same field. We'll catch you on the other side of the break. You're watching Falmouth Baseball.
Good look here as we bring you back for the fifth inning of play. How everything stands pretty much right at the halfway point of the Cape League season. Falmouth right now at the basement of the West, looking all the way up to the Kettleers. A win today would be massive against Cotuit.
It would, and the Doors have fought themselves right back into the mix towards the bottom half of that division, trying to climb into the top four. That's the spot that you need to be to make the playoffs.
However, on the other side, Falmouth has beaten every single team except YD in that East Division. For some reason, the Commodores have had more than half of their wins to this point in the year against their opponents on the other side of the Cape.
A lot of the West has dominated the East this season overall, and you're seeing that continue even with the Doors on the season, and they're going to try and keep that going this weekend. A couple of trips out east to Chatham and Orleans over the next 2 days.
Yeah, we'll have them for you on the radio airwaves tomorrow from Veterans Field tomorrow, and then Eldridge Park on Saturday. So that'll be a lot of fun.
It's actually 4 straight against East Division opponents because they come back here for YD and Brewster on Sunday and Monday.
YD, the lone team in that division, Falmouth has yet to beat. However, the Commodores do have a point against YD, earning that tie at Red Wilson Field a couple of weeks back. Very interesting ball game there after Hunter Hines, who is right now the leading favorite to be the MVP here in the Cape League. He has just not been able to be slowed down by anyone, including the Commodores in that game. A 3-run shot in the first inning of that game that nearly held up until it was a tie, 4-4.
Yeah, you got to think it's Hines in good position, and then probably Derek Bender second, who's sitting like 450 right now. But Hines just had such a big head start. He's got 8 homers. He's got 28 RBIs, I believe. Those numbers aren't getting caught by anybody right now.
You mentioned the Chanticleer, Derek Bender. We saw him a couple of days ago.
Yeah, his numbers have just been silly. A 440 average, 22 for 50 to start the summer. Already has a cycle. He has been outstanding. But Hunter Hines, 8 homers. Nobody else has more than 3 on the Cape so far this summer.
Including here with the Commodores. The leader was Ross Highfill. No longer on the roster due to injury. He hit 2 long balls. Although you got to like the efforts from Tyler McGregor for him to eventually be that leader for Falmouth. But now Bazana getting on the board with his first long ball of the year. And plenty of other bats, too, that are going to find a way to be involved in that conversation here with now a 2-2 count against Emilian Pitre.
Guys are starting to get used to swinging the wood bats again. Talked to Commodores hitting coach Brett Becker a little bit about the wood bats, and he said that he sometimes feels like the Cape League season doesn't start till July 1st because it just takes that guy's time to get used to the wood bats, get used to playing with each other, and then that final month is the home stretch heading into the playoffs.
Did he go? No, he did not. And that's going to be a walk to lead off the inning there. With a runner on first already. And to talk about the batting situation, for a guy like Luke Heyman, who just got his first cuts with a wood bat yesterday, probably for the first time since maybe last summer, maybe, because they've been swinging in the offseason in fall ball at Florida. And then the run that the Gators had all the way into Omaha, the final game, Game 3 in the College World Series Finals, it's been several months since he's picked up a wood bat.
Yeah, and he said he felt that he saw the ball well yesterday. Didn't translate too much for him, and he acknowledged that, but he felt good about the way he picked up the baseball and said he's going to be getting going soon, hopefully. He said it's all uphill from here.
Petrie dancing over there at first base, drawing a throw from Smith here in the top of the 5th inning. Falmouth on top 4-2. It was 2-0 when we resumed action. A pair of trading 2-run third innings for these teams. And that's all we've seen here in the resumed action here at the Gov. Peebles up the ladder, sends a foul. Good to see that the field's recovered for a loss of words, dumping of rain. Literally, within a matter of moments, once the rain came down, Zach, it was looking like a pool out there on the dirt.
It was. And unfortunately, the lightning kept us from going swimming, Matt. I know we had our swimming plans, but it's unfortunate.
Well, we were going to see fireworks, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's
Still hasn't happened
also
yet.
unfortunate.
Still has not happened. Tough. The 0-2. That one's in the dirt by the feet of Yannick. Little game of ring around the posy there to find the baseball underneath his feet.
Just got to get it as quick as he can, but he kept it close enough that there was no real threat of Petrie taking off.
There are still nobody out here in this 5th inning for Smith on the mound. Lifts the leg, and the big Brender. That one's slicing foul on the right field line. Is out of the reach. Nate Humphreys and a souvenir for the youngsters over there. Ooh, a tumble back there behind the fence to get the baseball, and I think the fan got it.
He did, but he's hitting it on the ground. He's frustrated with himself. He didn't make the play that he wanted to, but he's going to get back to the drawing board, Matt, and he's going to do it again next time.
That's what you hope. But
you do. That's his ideal mindset there. That's the mindset you got to have as a kid out there.
Now, I got my 100-year baseball in batting practice. Still haven't gotten one in an actual game hit to us as a foul ball. But those are tough to get. Those are a rarity now.
They are. They're real souvenir collections here in the Cape League in the Centennial season.
Not just any Cape League baseball. Got to get you one if they have the 100th Centennial season logo on the side there. Fans still starting to fill in here a little bit as we're now in the 5th inning. Numbers have filled up a little bit more here at Arnie Allen Diamond, Gov Fuller Field. The 2-2. Cannon Peebles working up there. Fouls off another.
Gotta wonder how many of those fans that are coming in at this moment are just kind of surprised that it's already in the 5th inning, not knowing that the game was being resumed from 2 days ago. Just like, oh, I'm going to come out to a game today, and then, oh, they're already in the 5th inning.
And with 6 runs across,
right,
you'd be wondering what the heck happened. Is the scoreboard operator asleep over there? Not the case. The 2-2. Late swing, another foul ball.
These last 2 ABs against Smith have been outstanding. You worked the walk-in Petrie on 7 pitches, fouled off some, worked himself through, and now here to pitch 8 for Peebles, and it's still only 2-2.
A really, really good battle working here as we get ready for that 8th pitch of the at-bat. What a way to fight all the way back in this at-bat. It was 0-2, and we're full.
And it's just continuing to be the way the Cotuit is, and that's why they have so much success with how they play. They battle. They don't go down in counts easy. They don't go down in innings easy. They don't go down in games easy, and you're seeing that tonight.
And it looks like a pitch clock violation again. That's really been nabbing Jacob Smith today, and because of that, that's going to be a walk.
It's really unfortunate for Smith because there's not a clock out here that he can see. And so he really has to keep that mentally. But Anthony Brunetti has been on it. That's the second one he's called already.
Back-to-back free passes issued now. With T.O. Banks stepping in. Struck out swinging last time. He gets a hold of this one. Backing up is Bazana. He'll settle in front of the wall and make the play. And that's one way to do it. Throw one pitch after the 2 walks. First out of the inning.
Just off the end of the bat there of Banks. He just missed it. Tried to put that one in the same spot that Norris did last time and give Cotuit the lead. Now you've got Norris up. A big reason why Norris was able to get the pitch he did and hit it so well was because Smith fell behind in the count. Got to get ahead here. Needs a first pitch strike.
Norris was ahead in the count 3-0. And it was the first strike of the at-bat before the 3-1 offering was put over the left field wall. Got to find a way here to at least, as you mentioned, you said it was so important for Jacob Smith to when he leaves this ball game to have Falmouth in the lead. Then it turns into a normal bullpen game, right?
Yes, it turns into exactly what you want from a starter, and Smith is effectively that today, where you want to get it to the back end of that bullpen with the lead.
Sharply on the ground, Keelan trying it again. Martin over to first. Another double play, and the Commodores escape the jam. That's one way to do it. And a 0 put up against another threat against Jacob Smith through 5 innings in what, as you mentioned, Zach, is an unofficial sort of way of 2 runs over 5 innings. That'll work. And the Commodores put up a big 0 with the team's bats looking for more insurance on the other side of the break.
You could have a future big leaguer in the family. Become a part of the Falmouth Commodores community by hosting a player for the summer. Host families provide a home away from home for some of the best college baseball talent in the nation, and the bonds formed between the players and families can last a lifetime. All host families will receive a weekly allowance from the Commodores organization to help cover expenses.
Hey, Commodore fans! The Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Gov Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball.
Good look there at Willie and the bullpen of the Commodores as some of the game day interns were getting the fans ready to go here and get excited with Falmouth taking the lead here. It appears that some defensive changes have been made in this one by the Kettleers. Still the same arm out there. And Gigliotti still on the mound. We'll wait for those numbers to get updated for us here. Can't quite see here who is now in the field for the Kettleers.
Looks like T.O. Banks may have moved from right to center and have a new right fielder for Cotuit.
I wear contacts, Zach, but I can't see from out here. It looks like 13.
It is 13. It's James McCoy.
We saw James McCoy yesterday. And now, as you mentioned, Banks will move to center. John Spikerman now top of the order for the Commodores will step in. James McCoy, as he's now freshly into the ball game. Tough out for Falmouth. 2 walks yesterday. Struck out once in that only one official at-bat of that game.
He's a good switch hit bat out of Kentucky. He'll be able to really play the matchups as this game goes on. The chess game behind the game between these two managers with the bullpen and the substitutions, especially in a game that was suspended and now resumed.
The Oklahoma Sooner, John Spikerman, trying to get off the schneid a little bit. He's had a couple of reached on the bases with walks, but hasn't had too many knocks here of late. In yesterday's game, was 0 for 3 with a walk.
He almost started that game with a bang, though. He flew out to the deepest part of the park at the wall on the first pitch of the game.
2 minutes early at 4:58.
Yes.
That was something we were laughing about yesterday. Lost him there, though. That breaking ball trying to get there. Couldn't. It's a leadoff walk for Spikerman, who stands at first.
Leadoff base runner. And a guy with that kind of speed, you've got to think that he's going to be on the move at some point in this at-bat. And we've called him this a few times already, and we've seen it a few times already. The Doors have gotten out of the last couple innings on double plays. These two guys, the toughest two players in an order to double up on the Cape this summer.
Don't believe they've been doubled off yet.
No,
to
they
this
have
point.
A couple of fielder's choices, though.
Good speed out of the box.
Exactly. That proves the point. You've got speed on first and speed at the plate.
And that's not a fielder's choice at second. That's a fielder's choice done because they beat it out at first.
Right. It's a spot where it could be a double play if not for Bazzana hustling down the line.
No routine ground balls moving batters over up 90 feet. This is the guys at second getting out, but the guys in the box able to switch places with them at first. Bazzana showing bunt. It was a purposeful pitch out. Still can't get John. The throw gets out into shallow center. Spikerman moves up 180 feet. You can't double him off, and you also can't really keep tabs on them when they're running loose. They're a stolen base and an advancement on the throw because of the error. Behind the plate from Peebles has Spikerman standing at third with nobody out.
Just like that, a chance to add insurance. That's what you're looking for when you have speed like that at the top of the order. And that's also why coaches say leadoff walks turn to runs more often than not. When you've got speed like Spikerman, even without the error, he's in scoring position with nobody out, but now he's just 90 feet away.
In response, the entire infield of the Kettleers in on the grass. On a line, it won't matter. Over the heads of everybody. Bazzana picks up his second RBI, and the Doors stretch the lead to 3.
Bazzana's surgical with his approach at the plate. When you bring the infield in, that's just begging him to find a hole, and he does it right there.
So for what it's worth, Travis Bazzana, across a total of now 3 days, dating back to when this ball game started on July 4th, has been involved in now 3 of the runs for Falmouth of the 5 the team has scored. 2 days ago, came around to score after a walk, as you see Cal DeBarge pop this one up a mile into the air. The new center fielder, T.O. Banks, calls everyone off for that out. But then he had the home run last time up, and then there the RBI single. This has been a breakout game for Travis Bazzana.
It has, and we've been waiting for it. We knew it was coming at some point, and finds himself some barrels, especially that last one there, and gets himself cruising into this game.
Speaking of a barrel, Tyler McGregor had one himself last time up. Hit it into the gap in right center to bring in DeBarge. But a nice effort by T.O. Banks at the time to round that baseball pretty well. Kept McGregor, and McGregor's a big guy, but kept McGregor only at first base in what was an RBI single. McGregor got jammed on this one the other way. A real tough play there. And he may have just beaten that one out. He does. At first base, unconventional, sure, but you'll take it. It's an infield hit for McGregor. 2 on, 1 away.
It kind of knuckled on Grant Norris and then almost handcuffed him on that hop. He had to try and figure out how to get that throw across, bounced it in, and Tyler McGregor hustling down that line for the infield single.
So now you have 2 on with 1 away after a couple of base hits. One sharply hit, and the other one kind of a cue shot out there to left. The other way there on the infield, as you mentioned, tough play for Norris. And the Commodores might keep it going with Christian Martin first pitch swinging. That'll get out of play. Martin 0 for 2 between July 4th and today. Popped out to left field on July 4th. and he lined out to the shortstop Norris in his first at-bat of today's affair. Good look at Bazana standing on second. He's got a lot of speed, but he should score on a base hit depending on how hard it's hit. Bazana dancing there. Chopped on the ground. They could get 2, 4, 6. Not in time. Can't get the 3 because of the speed from number 3. Now they're on the corners with 2 out.
Seen that a few times. The Doors just continuing to hustle down the line, and that's exactly what you're looking to see from these guys.
So Bazana stands at third. McGregor out on the fielder's choice. And again, already 1 run home here. But against this Cotuit team, and against a pitching staff of Cotuit that, again, as we've mentioned, the very, very best in the Cape League. Maybe the Bourne Braves rivaling them in that category, but I'm not quite sure, Zach. First in runs, earned runs, strikeouts, the least amount of home runs allowed. They don't allow base runners, the lowest whip of any of these teams.
I think on the pitching side, I don't think it's really particularly close for anybody on Cotuit. On the offensive side, I would give the edge probably to Bourne, but I think Cotuit's second there.
On a line, that'll get down, and another run comes in for Falmouth. Walker Yannick doing it himself, aggressiveness on the bases, and everyone moves up with some good base running.
Just continuing to keep the train moving. Hitting's contagious. As we've talked about over the last week or so, the Doors bats have gotten hot, and they're staying hot. This team's playing good baseball, and that's exactly what you like to see. And something that we talked about during that opening stretch of the season where they were really struggling the first 15 games, we said this team's going to get hot as it gets going, and that's exactly what's happening.
Brock Wills having some trouble there, out there in left. Everyone moves up an extra 90 feet. So we'll see now. Cade Snell, big chance. Again, the insurance that we're talking about here. Gavin Keelan is on deck to bat. However, Tab Tracy is the man standing there in place of Keelan. So a routine pinch hitter situation. And for what it's worth, Luke Heyman is standing up in Florida Gator catcher's gear right now. It appears he might be taking over behind the plate.
He might be. He's also been the guy that's come out here when Yannick has taken a little bit to get his gear on, and so Heyman may just be running out to try and help Smith get warmed up for the next inning, but we'll see. He could come into the game as well. We've seen some substitutions as the game's gone on.
The 2-1, chopped foul. I mean, Heyman is literally not even on the top step. He is on the
Yeah, I
the
can't
gravel.
remember when he came out last time whether he had the full chest protector on as well. I know he had the shin guards and the mask, but I think he's ready to come in. You see Tracy there as well in the on-deck circle. Some substitutions are coming for the Doors in this game.
Deuce is wild here, the 2-2. This one hangs up for Snell. He's given a long chase, a big run by Banks, and it's off the top of the wall. 2 will score. Snell rounding second. He will be in there with a sliding 2-run triple. And the Doors have broken it out here in the 5th.
The first triple of the summer belongs to Cade Snell. I bet that's exactly who you thought it was going to here for the Doors.
Yannick and Christian Martin could have crawled home on that one. That one, without a doubt, it hung up in the air for a while, but just barely kept into the yard here at Gov Fuller Field. Tab Tracy now in replacement of Gavin Keelan, although Tab does not play middle infield, so we'll have to see who will be the defensive replacement for Tab now. But it is Gavin Keelan who is out of this ball game. Have to think it has maybe to do maybe a safety precaution out there defensively.
I bet what they'll do is they'll move Tracy into left, Bazana to third, and DeBarge to short would be my guess.
I like that. That's makes a lot of sense to try to keep the same amount of players who are in this game without having to move too many cards around. But it's 1-1 to Tab. Haven't seen Tab in a little while. But he steps in now. Primarily has been down in the bottom of the order for Falmouth. On the ground up the middle. Norris in time, but not before 4 Commodores come across the plate. Across a couple of base hits and the big thump in the inning. A 2-run triple by Cade Snell has the Doors well out in front here at the Gov. It is 8-2. We know the score here at the Gov, but we're going to send it down to Destiny Sanchez for some updates across the Cape League and the scores around.
We have 2 other games going on the Cape. The Brewster Whitecaps lead the Harwich Mariners 12-5 in the top of the 7th, and the Wareham Gatemen are ahead of the Bourne Braves 4-2 in the bottom of the 3rd. You're watching Falmouth Commodores Baseball.
And we're back here. So if you guessed Darren Erstad, you'd be right.
You would, and he was really good out here. We talked to Chuck Sturdivant, longtime Commodores president, potential league or former league commissioner as well, and he said that he thinks Darren Erstad is the most talented player to ever play on the Cape, and he definitely made his mark at the major league level defensively, winning 2 Gold Gloves in the outfield and 1 at first base.
Nice job there by our crew to have a trivia opportunity here. It's nice to see that, just keeping it interactive. You may have heard as we were talking about a second ago, it'd be a lot of defensive changes because of Tab Tracy, who now stands in left field.
Yeah, he gets going out in left, and then Bazana to third and DeBarge to short.
Kyle DeBarge, the everyday third baseman for the Raging Cajuns. But now we'll get his opportunity here at short.
And Jacob Smith back out there for a 6th inning of work. Starts off this at-bat with a fastball high in sight. Glad you joined us here from Gov Fuller Field. That's even. It's 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, a big inning here, obviously. You want to see how much more Smith can offer you. And Garrett Coe is warming out there in the pen for the Commodores.
Now with a big lead, gotta think Smith is gonna try and be comfortable. Ground ball to second, pops off of the top hand of Martin and out into right field, and E4 to lead off the inning, and the leadoff man aboard for Cotuit.
Well, now you have a lot more insurance, but obviously not the way you want to start the inning. Relatively routine over there, just moving to his left, but eats up Christian Martin. That's an E4 all day. And some early work defensively. Now for, again, it looked like you were going to get that first out. Not anymore.
A 6-run advantage for Falmouth, trying to take this game from the West Division leaders. It's Jacob Tobias who pops the first pitch, fouling out of play. Tobias 0 for 2 so far in the ball game. Struck out in his lone appearance today. Was called out on strikes against Smith to lead off the top of the 4th. Check back over to first base on Brock Wills. Back-to-back left-handed hitters to start this inning. It's all lefty, and Smith delivers breaking ball for a called strike at the knees. And he's quickly ahead of Tobias again. It's 0-2.
Yeah, left on left here. Obviously want to take advantage of the matchup. And Tobias got him looking at one last time up.
0-2 fastball high, and Tobias lays off it. Looking to continue to keep the momentum on the side of the Doors. One-two breaking ball. Tapped back in front of the plate. Throw to second. And Yannick unhappy with that call, but they say it's a foul ball. Falmouth dugout disagrees. But a quick and emphatic call from Marvick Gomez behind the plate.
Yeah, that's big. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that one. Obviously, I mean, jumping out of the crouch there, looking to turn an unconventional 2-6-3 double play there against a tough bat in this lineup.
I think he would have done it based on how that one was looking. 1-2, drops it in for strike 3. 2 ABs for Tobias today and 2 backwards Ks. Jacob Smith dispatches of him for out number 1.
Yeah, Tobias not happy with that one. That's the second time he hasn't been a fan of a 1-2 breaking ball there going against him. He has a lot to say after that one, but I mean, you'll take that result. Obviously not the 2 birds with 1 stone effort there and what could have been that double play, but good to see Smith bounce back after the infield error.
4th strikeout for Smith. The first pitch swinging out to center. Spikerman slides in. He'll throw it into the middle of the infield. Moving up is Mathis. He heads to second base. And it's a single and an error. And there's 2 in scoring position for Cotuit with 1 out in the 6th.
That's tough because Spikerman came running and he did the thing we were talking about the other day, Zach, where you put your glove up, you make it look like you're coming in to crash on that baseball, even though it's obviously well in front of you to try to trick the base runners. Then we know how fast he is. Just kind of blew out a tire there. Not sure if he slipped. Again, all the rain the other day. We know the infield's been attended to, but sometimes you got to wait for that grass to dry up a bit. And he slipped on the throw in, and that's why it was wild on the infield. I don't think it's an error if he doesn't throw it in wildly like that, but it's because he slipped that it's a ruled an E8.
Elevated fastball gets a swing and a miss to start. This at bat to James McCoy, who entered to replace Carter Matheson out in the field. Now gets his first taste in the batter's box. 0-1 finds the outside edge, and Smith firmly in control of this AB against the Kentucky Wildcat.
And that's really good because a pair of errors doesn't happen a whole lot in the same inning, but a pair of errors here are really about to set up a chance for the Kettleers to get back in this ball game. Smith working through that adversity here, and he's got a chance for that second strikeout of the inning.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Yannick checks down to third, throws to first to complete the out. And there is that second strikeout of the inning, the 5th of the outing for Smith. And a chance to get out of this inning unscathed.
Yeah, Jacob Smith, I mean, I'm not going to speak too soon, but he's very quietly put together, aside from some of the walks, a very stellar outing for this Falmouth Commodores pitching staff today. I mean, he's looked really good. The pitch count right now just shy of 70 over his abbreviated outing today. But if he can get through this 6th inning, I'm pretty sure you would take that in a debut here for this lefty.
Goes the curveball on the first pitch. Catches the outside edge to Ryan Galaney. Grounded into that 6-3 double play in his last at-bat. His only appearance against Smith. He was a strikeout victim against A.J. Causey back on the 4th. 0-1. Goes back off speed. Evens things up against Galaney. The Wofford Terrier had himself a really good season at Wofford and has continued that here into the Cape League season. He's got 3 long balls for Cotuit, including one against Falmouth back on the 23rd of June at Lowell Park. 1-1, cut on and missed. And it's quickly 1-2. Smith in control and in a rhythm. He's right back on the mound mat.
Yeah, I mean, right there, it looked like that could have been maybe the changeup there on the outer third. He's got all those pitches to pick from. Haven't seen that one a whole lot, but a wave and a miss over the top, and you're 1 strike away.
The 1-2. Outside with the fastball. Evens it up. Galaney continuing to battle.
Well, he's gone to that big banana breaking ball here. I think that probably could be the call here, especially since he's had a good feel for it. Hasn't spiked a whole lot of them. Need a big cut and a miss, and that's the pitch to get it on.
The break even from Smith. Gets the swing and a miss. Yannick slaps the tag on to complete the out. And Cotuit threatens, but strands a pair in scoring position in the top of the 6th. Doors heading to the bottom half, looking to pile on from Gov Fuller Field.
The Falmouth Commodores merch shop is the one place to go for all your Commodores merchandise. Check out our full collection of hats, including the official game hats of the Commodores, along with shirts of all kinds. And for those colder nights, don't worry, we've got you covered with hoodies and jackets. We've even got bats, balls, pins, and more for all your collecting needs. Speaking of collecting, this year the Commodores are celebrating their 100th year with plenty of Centennial merchandise. The Commodores merch shop is the one place to get your 100th year gear. All the Centennial merchandise is while supplies last, so make sure to get it before it's gone. And hey, you never know who you'll find when you stop in. And there's always something to tip your hat to. Come say hi to us under the press box behind home plate before we close up shop in the 9th. And as always, roll doors.
Well, the doors are rolling tonight. 8 runs to this point for Falmouth, headlined by that 4-run inning in the bottom of the 5th. Zach Schneck alongside Matt Venezia. Glad you joined us here from Gov Fuller Field. We're having a lot of fun. We hope you guys are too. Destiny Sanchez along with us as well. And Matt, Cotuit came in right away in this resume game, hit a home run to tie things up, and it looked like all the momentum was on the side of Cotuit, but the Doors just fought right back.
Absolutely. I mean, it sucks that the rainout situation happened because A.J. Causey struck out 4 batters through the first 2 plus that we saw before it got called, obviously. And he was rolling, and you liked the way he was pitching against this Cotuit team. And then right when, the first outing here for Jacob Smith, as we talked about, you give up the 2 runs right away, and you're wondering, wow, all the momentum that this team had built before the game got called, now you got a close game working the rest of the way. Not this case so far. Falmouth offense has exploded. Smith settled in. Both outcomes that you wanted to have happen in this ball game have happened, and now it's going to be a bullpen game the rest of the way.
And you've got a big advantage to that point. Jansen Kiesel is the new pitcher for Cotuit out of Oklahoma State.
Yeah, good numbers there for him. Only had 9 appearances, 4 of them starts, went 18 and a thirds innings pitched. Struck out 34 over 19 walks.
First pitch swinging, Humphreys skies it out to deep right center. Banks goes back off the wall. And Humphreys round second, he'll head to third. The throw on the relay's not in time. And after the first 21 games of the season without a triple for Falmouth, they've got 2 in the span of 3 batters.
Yeah, not bad. That's one way to do it. I mean, my goodness, off the middle part of the wall to the deepest part there in right center. A lot of speed in Humphreys. We talked about all the stolen bases he had at Dallas Baptist. That time, though, he moves all the way to third, setting up Falmouth again with another run-scoring spot.
And the top of the order now as John Spikerman steps up. Swings on the first pitch and pulls it foul.
Just a really emphatic way to start off this bottom of the 6th for Falmouth. And again, it appears you're going to hand the ball over to the bullpen. Just really good all-around effort by both sides. The pitching, understanding that Smith needed to get one more inning, and he did, rather smoothly. And then for the offense to have the backs of its pitching staff.
Spikerman skies that one into center. Banks coming in on it, should be deep enough. Really strong throw. That's going to be close, but Humphreys is in standing up. That was tight. It was risky for him to go in standing up there, but able to bring it across, a sac fly. And the Doors add another. It's 9-2.
Yeah, Zach, I'm not really sure on both sides right there. I mean, I think that's a close play. Really good throw. Why Humphreys didn't slide, that's A. But B, Cannon Peebles didn't really look like he was in an aggressive stance to field that baseball. It just kind of looked like it went right through his legs on the hop there. Really interesting, but nonetheless, Commodores will take it. Another run here makes it 9-2.
Bazana starts out ahead in the count. He's reached in all 3 plate appearances in this game, and in big ways since the resumption today, a homer in the 3rd that gave the Doors the lead right back at 3-2. And then an RBI single in the 5th. He came around to score after that as well. He's ahead in the count, 2-0 against Kiesel. Cowboy trying to find his groove here. And it's quickly 3-0. Couple of OSU guys going at it, Oregon State and Oklahoma State. And the Beaver wins the battle, a 4-pitch walk. And after the bases were cleared on the sac fly, the Doors threatening once again as Bazana trots down to first.
Yeah, Jansen Kiesel, I mean, he's gotten tagged so far here to start his outing, but a 7.85 ERA at school is already allowed. Now, the first, 2 of 3 guys to reach in a productive at-batting, John Spikerman. Mike Roberts wants to have a talk with his right-hander here.
Roberts trying to settle him down. There is an arm up and warming in the Cotuit bullpen. At the very least, just getting loose. Doesn't look like he's fully throwing just yet. Trying to stretch out and stay loose in case they need him. It has been a much less than ideal ball game for Cotuit, but the Doors will certainly take it. They've got to feel good about where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really good breakout effort here. I mean, it's probably not the coolest feeling in the world to get slapped across the face like you did here to begin this top 3, where 2 runs come in right away. Again, the situation of having the rain cut into your ball game and have to move it to today. And then right away, you have to deal with that threat on the bases. Well, this team has certainly not allowed that 2-run third inning to get at them. 7 unanswered runs, Zach. Every bit of this offense looks dialed in today, obviously, taking advantage of some errors, sure, by Cotuit. But you still got to put the ball in play. There's been 2 triples, the home run. Things are working for this lineup right now.
First pitch misses to Kyle DeBarge. So 5 straight balls issued by Kiesel after the sac fly by Spikerman. He's really trying to settle himself down. The Doors with yet another double-digit hit effort in today's game. Already up to 11.
I mean, this team thrives off it. They hit the baseball real well. This is the Falmouth team, second in the Cape League in hits up to this point in the year. And they're showing why. Again, 11 now, as you mentioned, Zach.
And that's been a testament to how well they've hit the ball over the last week or so, because if you look back to last week, this team was towards the middle and the bottom of the league in hits. But now all the way up, right towards the top.
And right now, you look at the stretch of you lost to Bourne in a close game, right? Then you had this game coming up that is being resumed, and it gets cut, and then you lose yesterday against Cotuit. So it probably doesn't feel like it. But the Commodores are still relatively playing pretty solid baseball, aside from what feels like 2 consecutive losses.
Chance to get right back on the track here. A hot shot towards the dugout. Heads up over there. There's Mike Landry pointing from the dugout, telling DeBarge to hit it that way. Hit it towards the field. Don't hit it at us.
Well, you're not expecting it there from, in this case, the batter's facing you. We're talking pull side, hitting to the left. I don't know how that didn't get anybody there. That was really scary, but everyone looks okay.
And Bazana almost picked off. He's trying to get himself in a pickle here. Back and forth we go on the base paths, and Bazana gives himself up there. He's picked off. Something you don't see often from a guy who leads off the way he does. He's really close to the bag a lot of times, but he was ready to go there. I was not expecting that throw.
Well, I thought he was going to recover after the throw to Tobias was really high, and it got away from him, and he lost his footing for a second. Bazana's speed, I don't think he was seeing that. He's running up the second base line. He's not looking behind him. But if he trusts his gut there to go into second head first, I think he swims around that and maybe he gets in there.
Yeah, I think he was trying to deke it and get himself into the pickle if he could and force maybe an error on a throw. But either way, a gift for Cotuit to have a chance to try and get out of this inning with minimal damage done. Still 9-2, Doors in front. The 2-2. Lined out to right field. Coming in on it was McCoy, but he'll watch it drop in front of him. DeBarge picks up his 3rd hit of the game.
Well, it's really good to see Kyle DeBarge swinging a good bat. He had an off day a couple of days ago, 3-hit effort, one of his better games we've seen from him. But that's the second time we've seen an outfielder slip out there. I mean, I'm serious when I say that it rained a lot. Obviously, if you're up here in the Falmouth area to know what it looked like, even watching on the broadcast, you could tell. I mean, it was a swimming pool out on the infield. And just because you can use the quick dry out there, you can't use that out on the grass. You need the sun to help you out. And we're only playing 48 hours after probably some of the hardest and most consistent rain we've seen here so far in Falmouth.
Good backdoor slider to start. Tyler McGregor comes in with yet another multi-hit game right now. He entered hitting .423 on the summer, and now 2 more hits to add to that total. Both of those coming off of his collegiate teammate in Jake Gigliotti, whose line is final for Cotuit at 3 innings pitched, gave up 9 hits, 6 runs, all of them earned, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. DeBarge takes off. McGregor fouls it off as he got a piece of it, and it popped out of the glove of Peebles.
Well, again, we talked about Gigliotti's numbers at the top of the broadcast. .71 ERA. Did real well against this Falmouth team last time in that big win for Cotuit in the first matchup these two teams had. But hey, just because they say it's a pitcher's league doesn't mean that the hitters here aren't, capable themselves. And the Commodores certainly showing that against one of the better arms so far entering today's action.
That they are. Tyler McGregor staying alive. He's going to get himself yet another chance here. Trying to win the battle against Kiesel and work some more 2-out magic. See if DeBarge decides to take off again. A real good speed over at first base. Not your typical 3-hole hitter in that respect. He can really run. 0-2 bounces in. The back pick attempt to first. It's not in time. It got away, but not far enough.
Cannon Peebles, pretty decent throw over there. Almost had DeBarge. He's got a laser back there behind the plate.
And DeBarge was not expecting that throw back, but does a nice job. Dive back into the outer part of the bag. Even if that throw is on target and caught cleanly by Tobias, would have been close, but I think DeBarge might have been back in safely. Runner goes. 1-2, sent right back towards us. And another 1-2 awaits.
A nice job here just battling. If you're McGregor, again, when you're seeing the baseball like he is, you can foul off some of those pitches. That looked to be almost like a cut fastball, just coming back in, up and in towards the hands, and then a couple of breaking balls he's fighting off. McGregor right now just trying to get one. He had a really sharp base hit last time.
Another 1-2. Outside, McGregor works himself back even.
That wasn't a bad pitch. It almost looked to be like an overly aggressive frame effort by Peebles. Almost like kind of dropped the glove down in a slashing move with his left hand. If you keep that nice and firm a little bit, just a slight movement on the outer third, you might get a different call.
Pick off not in time over to first. The former Columbia first baseman in McGregor transferred over to Northeastern grad year, studying sports leadership with the Huskies, and has really brought a spark to this Commodores lineup. 2-2, yet another foul ball, and he'll continue to battle. Can't ask for much more than what Falmouth has gotten out of McGregor since his insertion into the lineup, and he has been a mainstay, batting in the cleanup spot at first base every game since his arrival against Orleans last week.
Well, obviously, yeah, we miss, the efforts of Charlie Condon. We miss Charlie Condon, but, if you're looking at a replacement,
McGregor comes up empty, upstairs on the fastball. Kiesel wins the battle, but the Doors get one more across. It's a 7-run advantage heading to the 7th from Falmouth.
Back to Falmouth Commodores baseball. I'm Destiny Sanchez coming to you sideline with a special message from Cape Cod Healthcare. Cape Cod Healthcare is proud to be the official healthcare sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. When you need to be seen quickly for minor illness or injury, Cape Cod Healthcare Urgent Care provides a convenient and cost-effective treatment option with 6 locations across Cape Cod from Falmouth to Orleans. Open daily with no appointment needed and staffed by board-certified ER providers. View wait times at capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare Urgent Care. Minor emergencies, major attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Destiny. The Doors cruising into the 7th inning. And it's a party out here at Gov Fuller Field. A new arm to the mound for the Doors. It's Garrett Coe.
Garrett Coe, we've seen him in a couple of stints for Falmouth so far this year, and I've been really impressed with what we've seen from Coe. Again, the 2-pitch mix that we've seen so often, but the last time we saw him in that 11-5 Wareham game, went 2 innings, struck out 2 batters. I mean, look, he used his defense behind him. Gave up 1 hit, walked a batter, but Coe, very quietly, outside of a tough little effort against Harwich in his first stint, has been relatively solid in hold situations for Falmouth.
That's what you like to see from him, and talking about solid, how about the debut from Jacob Smith?
Yeah, Jacob Smith really good today, and again, a very wacky situation, but nonetheless, 3 2/3, struck out 6, only walked 2, and again, just that 3rd inning where it was an inherited runner on his end because of A.J. Causey 2 days ago allowing the base runner to reach, but Smith came in, gave up the home run, and that was it. Not much more. He looks really good.
Found his way through a tough Cotuit order and helped keep them at bay and allow the Doors offense to come through. Garrett Coe starts Emilian Pitre with a fastball high. It's 1-0, 7-8-9 for Cotuit here in the top of the 7th. Goes back to the heater there, evens it up. Fastball changeup mix for Coe for the most part. Big lefty. Delivers off speed there. And it's 2-1. Goes back to the heater. Inside on the hands of Pitre, and it's fouled back. One of the best freshmen in the country, the Kentucky Wildcat, at the dish. Checked his swing on the 2-2, and Pitre's worked it full.
Yeah, a couple guys here, including Coe, thinking he went around there. Got to come back and fire one here on the full count.
Does just that. Drops the changeup off the table. Pitre swings right over the top of it, and Coe enters, picking up right where Jacob Smith left off with a punch-out.
Well, when your 2-pitch mix is a fastball changeup, you got to make sure that the changeup changes up, and that's exactly what that was there. It starts, as you mentioned, looking like a fastball out of the hand and just falls off the bottom, and you can't catch a barrel there with that kind of a pitch. Really good pitch.
Goes to it again to start off the at-bat to Cannon Peebles, the switch-hitting catcher, headed to Tennessee in the fall. Once again, dropping it in. It is very quickly 0-2. Now misses outside, and it's 1-2. Coe works extremely quick on the rubber. Out of UConn, talked to Jeff Trundy about having Garrett Coe back, and he's really glad to have him here. Played for him in prep school before he went to UConn. That Frederick Gunn Prep School, now called the Gunnery. Actually, excuse me, the other way around. Was called Gunnery, now Frederick Gunn Prep School. Pitch misses outside, and yet another full count.
Well, he went to the changeup last time, trying to use it there to chase. Could he go for the punch out here with it?
Instead goes to the fastball that's fouled back.
A couple redirects off the headgear of both Yannick and the home plate umpire behind the plate.
Another payoff pitch. Pulled foul on the off speed. And we'll continue the battle. Doesn't feel like there have been as many pitches from Ko just because of the fact that he's been working so quickly, but he's really been battling. Another 3-2. Stayed up. Garrett Ko was asking immediately. Marvin Gomez thought that one was up and then out, and he just got the up from him. So a one-out base runner on the walk sets up T.O. Banks. Tulane Green Wave digging in, started the game out in right field, moved out to center. He's had some long runs trying to cover that right center field gap out in the outfield as the Doors have been peppering that gap pretty much all game. Banks working on an 0-for-2 ball game. He started the game today with the resumption at the plate and struck out against Smith. Hit that one a long way, but pulled it well foul. And for Ko, it's just a long strike.
I mean, you can work with it. You're trying to get that pitch in on the right-handed bat. That's why it's tough to get your hands in front of that and catch a barrel there. Yanked it foul.
Peebles does move pretty well, especially for a catcher over at first. A 1-2 count now awaiting Banks after that foul ball. We saw a couple pitch clock violations against Jacob Smith earlier. You're not going to see any of those with Garrett Ko working on the mound.
Not at all. He gets up there ready to go. Doesn't even take that long when he's set before going.
Now we'll check over on Peebles at first. The 1-2 to Banks. Drops in below the knees. Evens it up 2-2. Every hitter that Ko has faced so far has seen a full count. See if Ko can keep Banks from getting to that point. Swing and a miss. He does. Elevates that fastball. Punches him out. Chasing up and away. And two batters retire by way of the strikeout for Ko.
Yeah, Garrett Ko settling in a little bit again. As you mentioned, a full count walk, but this time he gets the job done himself. And Ko, very quietly, I mean, look, struck out three batters over the course of his two outings so far, picking up where he left off in that Wareham game.
This is a Cotuit team that does not strike out much overall. One of the best teams at the plate in avoiding the strikeout numbers. Just 161 strikeouts, that's best in the league entering today. But it's been a different story so far. The Doors pitching, keeping Cotuit in check. We head to the stretch. It's 9-2, Falmouth in front on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Do your kids have big league dreams? Do they want to learn from the stars of tomorrow? Then check out the Falmouth Commodores Summer Baseball Clinics, where kids from the ages of 5 to 14 can hone their skills in pitching, hitting, fielding, and catching with help from the best college players in the nation. The clinics run from June to late July, and the 6 four-day sessions are divided by age group and experience level. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Give your kids a summer of baseball and a lifetime of memories.
Got some changes for you Here at the Gov, Jacob Tobias moves from first base to pitcher. And moving over to first base is the designated hitter, Cole Mathis, who enters the field for the first time.
Yeah, a lot of changes, facing a heavy deficit. I know this better than anyone. Tobias is not a pitcher at Arizona State, yet he's taken the mound here. He's already taken the mound before this season in similar spots, just trailing a big number, I guess, trying to save some arms, but Jacob Tobias is a first baseman and he's on the mound.
Got some position player pitching action here at the Gov. A 1-1 count to Christian Martin. The unofficial radar here, 65 miles an hour on that pitch. Fires that one in at 72 for a called strike. And it's 1-2 to Martin. Working from a full windup. Stays high and out at 64. Big adjustment for these hitters. You see this sometimes in the majors. I don't know that you see it too often in college with position players pitching, and so a bit of an adjustment for these hitters.
I mean, the way I see it is the guys are out here even in the deficits to get in front of scouts, and even though you may want to save some arms, like I'm not quite sure the whole position player pitching.
Well, Tobias starts with a strikeout of Christian Martin for out number 1. Other thing to consider with Cotuit is they did just lose a few arms yesterday to the draft. So I'm not sure who is available and who is not, but Tobias with some smiles up there on the mound. At the end of the day, these guys are just out there having fun right now, trying to make light of the situation, and Yannick is hit by the pitch. So a strikeout, but then a hit batter. One on with one away. Doors trying to continue to add to the lead.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not coming in all that hot. You just might not expect what he's going to throw in the certain spots. We've seen him shake off Peebles a couple of times, but
blows that one by. Snell, who's looking back towards the dugout, laughing and shaking his head a little bit. Yannick with a massive lead. He thought about it, and then he'll give a look back. And more laughs coming from Walker Yannick, who had a chance to swipe that bag if he wanted to and decided not to.
We've seen him swipe some bags, stole a lot of them with the Bearcats last year.
And now Tobias will check back over on him at first. The first baseman getting to be on the other side of that pickoff play for once.
And you don't see that very often, except I guess Summer League.
The pitch misses outside, and it's 2-1. It's Cole Mathis holding him on. Mathis is a guy that's a two-way player at College of Charleston, and he's entering from the DH spot over to first base.
So it's that Shohei Ohtani rule now. No designated hitter anymore for the Kettleers because you lose that in that substitution.
3-1 that floated in, and Cade Snell took a big hack at that one, but came up empty. He was trying to hit that ball off the Clippers scoreboard out there in right field.
Well, he almost cleared the wall last time with that triple, but he'll have to work with just this walk now.
And 2 aboard with 1 away for Tab Tracy.
Yeah, and to put into perspective, Tobias' only appearance this summer went 3 innings in a 13-1 loss against Bourne. In those 3 innings in mop-up role, gave up 4 runs on 6 hits. So very clear that this appears to be the Kettleers waving the white flag in light, probably due to the fact that, again, as you mentioned, a lot of arms were lost to the MLB draft. Getting ready for that.
At least for the moment, there is an arm up and warming in the pen for Cotuit, however. Tab Tracy looking for his first hit of the ball game. He entered as a pinch hitter for Gavin Keelan earlier in the game. And he's quickly behind 1-2 to Tobias here. Tracy lines that one into center, and it gets down in front of Banks. Yannick headed back to second at first. He thought that Banks was going to get to it. He'll get into third. The bases are juiced now for Nate Humphreys.
Just taking a fastball, not coming in all that hard, but if you just get on it, you can send it still a long and hard way. That one right up the middle on a line. And again, kind of ate up Banks just a little bit because of what appears to be, again, the conditions out there in the outfield. It's still pretty damp out there. You'll take that, though. They're fully loaded.
Tobias fires in the strike to start Nate Humphreys. He's already got a single and a triple. And he's even in the count here. Another multi-hit game for Nate Humphreys, who has continued to produce at the bottom of this order after starting to heat up last weekend. Pops this one a mile high. Peebles running back towards the fence, and he will run out of room as it lands just behind the social media table there.
Yeah, our guys there on camera, look at them having a good time down there. Owen almost coming up with that catch.
Or at least pretending he almost came up with it.
They keep it fun down there, especially on the social media handles.
1-2, Humphreys lines that one into the gap, and it's going to get all the way to the wall. One run will score. Snell comes around, he'll score. Tracy headed in, he will score as well. A 3 RBI double for Nate Humphreys. And just like that, it's 12-2 Falmouth.
Well, don't look now, but Nate Humphreys, a long ball away from the cycle. I mean, he's all over that one. I mean, we might not be able to see him get another at-bat unless the Commodores keep teeing off on Tobias here, but you like the effort. You said it right before that 3-run double in the fact that he's had a good day today, one of the best we've seen from him aside from the breakout game against Wareham, but all over that fastball, one hopper into the right field wall, and you clear the bases with that one swing.
Bullpen is now quiet for Cotuit as Spikerman steps up. That called strike evens it up from Tobias. He's just trying to get outs at this point for the Kettleers. Cotuit back in action tomorrow against Hyannis. Spikerman sends that one back to the mound. Tobias with a little field and flip to retire John Spikerman for out number 2.
It's funny because as a pitcher there, he's fielding that ground ball, almost ate him up there as he tried to stab at it with his throwing hand. He knows what it's like. Sometimes you sit up here and it's like, how could the pitcher not make that easy routine flip? Well, because they're not used to fielding. Tobias being a first baseman, he got firsthand experience of what pitchers deal with getting off the mound and having to field a ground ball like that.
Now Bazana's up, trying to keep his hot day going. He's reached in all 4 plate appearances, a couple of walks, a homer, and a single. Takes low, even things up. Oregon State Beaver trying to stay hot. One is outside. Pisano, one of the best players in the country this year, consensus All-American. Skies that one a mile high out to left. A long run in for Wills, who will make the catch for out number 3, but the bases clearing double from Nate Humphreys, and the Doors in front by 10 runs, headed to the 8th inning from Falmouth.
Hey, Commodore fans! The Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Gov Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball, all for free.
Garrett Coe to the mound for the top of the 8th. Out for his second inning of work. He'll face 2, 3, 4 in the order. You got Brock Wills, the left fielder, then the new pitcher, Jacob Tobias, and then the new first baseman, Cole Mathis.
It's going to make me laugh when Brendan gets on the PA and says, now batting the pitcher, Jacob Tobias. It's just, I guess, big leads. And
you got to get the little tweet going with the little stick figure, the position player pitching, the little stick figure dancing.
Yeah, yeah. I hope Morgan and Owen are listening down there at the social media table.
I saw the tweet. They said something about there is a position player pitching, period. It is the 7th inning.
Oh, that's funny.
Called strike. Make it 2-1. Go check us out on all of our social medias. They do a great job down there. You got the Twitter, the Instagram, the TikTok, and now the Threads. You can check us out on Threads as well. Got to hop on the trend as of last night.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a trend worldwide. You said it, what? How many have they gotten over the first couple of hours?
Slicing line drive is fair down the line. Wills will get to second base with a leadoff double. And that throw gets all the way away. And it's going to get all the way towards the dugout. But Wills works a double. And also, back to what you were saying, the number that I saw earlier was 30 million users in the first 7 hours for Threads.
I mean, those are, wow.
Silly numbers.
Silly is one way to put it. I mean, we'll see what happens in this day and age, 23, with the social media handles, and seen a couple, like TikTok and some other ones kind of get big and popular.
You never know what's going to happen these days. Like Jacob Tobias on the mound and now at the plate. And he hit that one a very high velocity off of the light pole and ricocheting back.
I mean, that sounded like a bell tower going dong. Wow. Heads up, anyone down in the stands. What a game. It's just been a fun day for baseball.
It's definitely been an interesting day at the ballpark. Tobias pops it up on the infield, and Christian Martin is there for out number 1. But you look at, that's why you come to games like this. You never know what you're going to see.
Not at all. And for Tobias, he'll take that result instead of those looking strikeouts that he wasn't too fond of in his previous 2 at-bats today. But I think his takeaway from this game will be the fact that he got into pitch. Even though that means it was a loss for his team, he's laughing about that one, though. Has some stories to tell back at school.
First pitch misses to Cole Mathis from Garrett Coe, who's trying to work a second scoreless frame on the mound. Joey Ryan is stretching for the doors down by the bullpen. Could be the option for the 9th. And it's a 2-0 count to Mathis, the Cougar out of the College of Charleston. Runner at second is Wills. He's got good speed. A base hit should bring him around. Coe continuing to try and drop that one in at the knees, but just a little bit low again. It's 3-0. To this point in the game, Mathis with a pair of hits today and then a strikeout before the suspension of the game back on Tuesday. As Coe starts his battle back, it's 3-1. We talked a few days ago, Matt, about some of the former Commodores that are now in the big leagues. One of them in Adley Rutschman set to hit in the home run derby as McGregor has to circle around to make that play. But you're seeing the Commodores represented on the All-Star teams and in the Derby.
Yeah, and speaking of Adley getting that honor, a big bat when he was here in Falmouth, I'd like to see Tyler McGregor maybe step in the box at Harwich for the home run derby. The way he's been swinging the baseball bat recently.
Yeah, he's definitely been swinging it well. It'd be cool to see him there. I can tell you one bat that is almost certainly going to be there, and that's Hunter Hines, with how he has been swinging it this summer. If he wants it, I'm sure he's got a spot in it. This one skied out to left for Tab Tracy. And Garrett Coe works around the leadoff double to work a scoreless top of the 8th inning. It's 12-2, Falmouth in front on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Priscilla Peruzzi and been a host family for the 2nd year. We found that every single player, even those that weren't staying with us, were polite, respectful, and really appreciated what you were doing for them.
After a while, they were bringing home players, and they were always hanging out down in the man cave.
Almost every day is another memory that you make. We even have friends of ours that will text us and let us know, did you see what happened? We've gotten a lot of other people supporting them as well.
Another new pitcher, and it's another position player here. For the Kettleers, it's Josh Pine out of Indiana.
Well, it's funny, our graphics folks telling us that they have his information and ID ready, and I said, of what? He doesn't pitch. This is another
It's right there. They've
player.
got it. Don't doubt the graphics
no,
team,
I
Matt.
mean, it's just funny. Like, yeah, it's just such an interesting way this ball game's turned out.
It's quickly 2-0 to Kyle DeBarge. This is definitely not the outcome that we were expecting, but it does kind of even it out as the Doors had it given to him by Cotuit back last month in a big blowout win for the Kettleers. Now a big advantage for Falmouth trying to finish this one off, and then the close game yesterday. A 3-1 count. It's coming in a little firmer from Pine, even though he's not necessarily a pitcher. He does play a lot of third base, and so you get a good arm over there at the hot corner.
I was going to say, it's not just called the hot corner because it comes to you pretty sharply. You got to be able to get rid of it quickly, too.
Takes something off of that one. Finds the zone. The count full to DeBarge. Sends that one out of play. DeBarge with 3 hits, including a double back in the third. It is DeBarge, McGregor, and Christian Martin to face Pine in the bottom of the 8th. The payoff pitch. Strike 3 called. Pine, similar to Tobias, starts the outing with a punch-out.
Just comes in a little bit hotter, as you mentioned, partner, and with how hard he's throwing right now, I want to find his Little League numbers and see if we can have some sort of set of statistics to tell you of when Pine's towing the rubber up there. I'm not sure he's done it in a little while, but
has not done it collegiately at Indiana or with Cotuit to this point.
I mean, right there, he's got what looks to be like a little changeup action kind of starting and fading on the arm side. That's a backyard baseball kind of grip there.
1-0 fastball. Pop to second. And a nice play on that one to make the play by Grant Norris, who flipped from short to second this inning with Emelian Pitre. Just a quick flip for the two of them as they both remain in the game, just switching up the positions. Now Christian Martin takes a called strike, and Josh Pine almost out of this inning already with a 1-2-3 inning on the mound.
I mean, he works quickly. There's no doubt about that.
Martin skies that one to left field, backpedaling his wills to make the catch in a 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th. Worked by Josh Pine. Falmouth still way in front, headed to the 9th from Gov Fuller Field.
You could have a future big leaguer in the family. Become a part of the Falmouth Commodores community by hosting a player for the summer. Host families provide a home away from home for some of the best college baseball talent in the nation, and the bonds formed between the players and families can last a lifetime. All host families will receive a weekly allowance from the Commodores organization to help cover expenses.
Hey, Commodore fans! The Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Gov Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball.
Joey Ryan out for the 9th inning. Try and finish this one off and help Falmouth get some momentum into the road trip.
Yeah, we saw Joey Ryan in the Wareham game for the Commodores has kind of sort of worked himself into this closer role, although when he's been here since Casey Hunt's left, he hasn't really had a chance to close out a ball game and get that save. But he went 2 1/3, gave up 3 hits, struck out 2 in that 12-2 game for the Commodores in the win at Spillane Field. So, again, another appearance for him. He'll take it, getting to be in the game with not a lot of stress here in the 9th inning. But Joey Ryan, these numbers count and certainly help him out moving along his baseball career. And doesn't matter how up or how down, whatever it is, as long as you're out there in terms of the score, go out there and deliver. And Joey Ryan's got a shot here to close out this 9th.
He has been very good to this point in the ball game. And a called strike to start off the outing as he takes on Ryan Galaney. Ryan, 5 innings pitched. That ERA still at 0. Can't do much better than that.
No, not at all. He certainly gets it done so far, and now 4 appearances, 5 innings, as you said, Zach. 3 over 2 in terms of the strikeouts to walks. You'd like to see him work quickly and unscathed to get this one closed.
Pulled foul down the line, and it's 1-2.
But again, really good effort here to split the July 4th and 5th affairs against Cotuit, even if it meant you had to do it one more day extra. Going into Chatham tomorrow, a team you took care of very handily last time we saw the Anglers.
Strike 3 called. Ryan sits down. Galaney looking for out number 1. You mentioned that last Chatham game. That was here on the road. The Doors bats struggled at Veterans Field. We'll see if they can get going in tomorrow's action.
19 up, 19 down for Falmouth. And again, it was just Xavier Casarella doing it himself with the home run. Robbed Joe Redfield of a home run in that game. And it was a one-man show pretty much. But the Anglers and the Commodores, for that matter, combined for, 26 punch-outs in that game, I think? Some odd, crazy number like that.
Sliced foul, and it's 0-2. As of now, the projected starting pitcher for the Doors is Braden Davis again, who was really good at Chatham last time.
Oh my gosh, that was the best stuff he had, and I really thought it was going to be one of his better outings. It was.
Wave and a miss, and you mentioned the strikeout to walks numbers for Ryan and not many strikeouts. Well, he must have heard you out there, Matt, because back-to-back strikeouts as he quickly sits down Emilian Petre.
I was getting ready to note that Braden Davis's last outing was against Bruce for the Commodores, but Braden had 5 strikeouts through 2 innings and was looking really, really good. Got hit around just a little bit, registered 4+ innings pitched, 3 earned runs on the day. So when you look at that outing and what he did against Chatham, what I'm getting at is he's found that strikeout pitch for that arm out of Oklahoma State. I'm really excited to see Braden Davis tomorrow at Veterans Field.
The 1-0 to Cannon Peebles. Swings through it. It's 1-1.
Well, Joey Ryan's trying to get the Doors out of here quickly. He has just been finding the strike zone with ease right now.
That 1-1. Tipped into the glove, and it's 1-2. Cotuit down to its final strike. The Doors trying to shut this one down and pick up a win a couple of days later. From the start of this one, they'll have to wait at least one more pitch as Peebles fights it off to stay alive.
And to contain this offense, that's first in slugging, second in home runs, second in average.
Change up laid off. Evens it up. It's 2-2.
To contain Cotuit to just that 2-run inning right when we got back going in the resuming of the game. Since then, you're about to hang 6 zeros in a row.
The break even. Line drive, shallow center. DeBarge has it, and the Doors with a commanding victory over Cotuit, 12-2.
I mean, that's just such a good job by Falmouth. I was just saying there before the final out, finding a way to deal with that adversity right out of the gate. And Jacob Smith, who, in my mind, had a better outing than I think we were anticipating. We've seen a lot of guys struggle a little bit in their first outings, kind of getting going. Had 2 walks, struck out 6, went those 3 2/3 innings. And between Garrett Coe and Joey Ryan, bullpen shutting the door, slamming the door shut on Cotuit today. Not letting those Kettleers rally in this one. But you like to see that after a game yesterday where the offense was bottled up a little bit. A couple chances at extra base hits that were taken away by some good plays in the field by the Kettleers. To come out and put 14 hits against a really good number like this. I mean, that's just such a good job by the Commodores, who get a much-needed 8th win on the season.
Well, it was a big one for Falmouth, and with more on it, we'll send it down to the field with Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. A great win for Falmouth tonight against Cotuit, 12-2 over the Kettleers. No team this season has defeated Cotuit with this big of a run differential. This is a great win that Falmouth needed under their belt, especially going into the road game against Chatham tomorrow. Back to you guys at the booth.
Thank you, Destiny. 51 hours between the start of this game and the end of this game, Matt. But the Doors still found a way to get it done.
You were telling me before the game, let's do the math on how long this game officially is. I guess it's those
2 days, 3 hours, 36 minutes between the first pitch of this game and the final pitch of this game. But the Doors find a way to get it done and send the 4th of July crowd home happy a couple of days later.
Yeah, it took a second. No fireworks up in the sky here in Falmouth, unfortunately. At least none that didn't last the demo round yesterday of just seeing what it would look like in the fog. But there were fireworks here today at the Gov, and for the fans that came and saw them, I'm sure they're very, very happy to get to see this win for Falmouth. What a job.
What a job from everybody here at Gov Fuller Field. It's been great to have you along with us. Our director, Ellie Fideli, assistant director, Audrey Glynn, the videographers, today, Laura Schroeder and Scott Semanchuk, and a lot of other people that have helped us out here at Gov Fuller Field. For Destiny Sanchez, broadcast partner Matt Venezia, I am Zach Sardenik. Falmouth with a 12-2 win over Cotuit. I'm hoping that you have a blessed rest of your Thursday night, and saying good night from Falmouth.